Once upon a chilling night in a small, secluded town lived a woman named Victoria. She was known for her ethereal beauty, but hidden behind her enchanting facade was a dark and sinister secret. Victoria had always desired a life of freedom and wealth, which seemed unattainable with her overbearing husband, Edward. Edward was a stern man, possessive and controlling. He kept Victoria on a tight leash, never allowing her to leave the house unaccompanied or meet with friends. As the years passed, Victoria's desire for escape grew stronger, and the idea of ridding herself of Edward's suffocating presence began to consume her mind. One fateful night, when the moon hung low and the wind whispered hauntingly through the trees, Victoria hatched a plan. She invited Edward to a lavish dinner at their secluded estate. While the evening seemed ordinary, Victoria had secretly laced his wine with a potent poison. As the night wore on, Edward's eyes grew heavy, and he succumbed to the deadly drink. Believing she was finally free, Victoria buried her husband's lifeless body deep within the woods, ensuring that no evidence would be found. A shroud of darkness enveloped her heart, concealing the guilt that slowly ate away at her soul. Weeks turned into months, and Victoria lived in constant fear of discovery, but no one suspected a thing. Her life took an unexpected turn when she met a charming stranger named Henry at a social gathering. Henry was everything Edward wasn't: kind, caring, and understanding. Victoria found herself drawn to him, and they quickly developed a deep connection. As Victoria and Henry's relationship blossomed, she began to feel a sense of happiness and freedom she had never known before. However, that euphoria was short-lived when one stormy night, as they strolled through the same woods where Victoria had buried Edward, an eerie presence enveloped them. From the shadows emerged a figure that sent shivers down Victoria's spine. It was Edward. Pale and ghastly, he stood before her, his eyes filled with a haunting rage. Victoria's heart raced as the unimaginable truth dawned upon her. Edward was not dead. He had survived the poison, and through some twist of fate, he had returned to her life. Terrified and bewildered, Victoria tried to make sense of it all. Edward's reappearance was like a nightmare come true. He taunted her, revealing that he had known of her plan all along, and he had decided to bide his time, tormenting her with the knowledge of his survival. Victoria's world spiraled into darkness once more, as Edward threatened to reveal her deadly secret unless she abandoned Henry and returned to him. He vowed to make her life a living hell if she ever tried to escape again. Trapped between the horrors of her past and the uncertainties of her future, Victoria faced an impossible choice: to continue living under Edward's malevolent control, or risk everything to break free once and for all, knowing that this time, there might be no escape from the clutches of the man she had once tried to do away with. In the days that followed Edward's reappearance, Victoria found herself living in constant fear and torment. Edward kept a watchful eye on her, always lurking in the shadows, a menacing presence that reminded her of her terrible deed. Victoria tried to maintain a semblance of normalcy, going about her daily routines with Henry by her side. But the weight of her dark secret and the ever-looming threat of Edward's revelation hung over her like a storm cloud, ready to burst at any moment. As the weeks passed, Edward's vengeful tactics escalated. He sent Victoria chilling messages, leaving sinister notes at her doorstep, and making eerie phone calls where he spoke in a low, raspy voice, taunting her with the knowledge of every detail of that fateful night. Unable to bear the torment any longer, Victoria decided to confide in Henry about her horrifying past. Trembling with fear and guilt, she revealed the truth about Edward and the poison-laced wine. To her surprise, Henry showed unwavering support and vowed to stand by her side, facing whatever darkness lay ahead. Together they sought advice from a wise old woman known for her knowledge of the occult. She listened intently to Victoria's tale and warned her that Edward's return was no mere coincidence. The old woman spoke of an ancient curse, a dark ritual fueled by revenge that Edward had performed to return from the grave. She explained that the curse linked Victoria's life force to Edward's, making it impossible for her to escape him. The only way to break the curse and free herself from his grasp was to confront Edward and undo the evil spell that bound them together. Determined to sever this supernatural connection, Victoria and Henry embarked on a perilous journey to find the origins of the curse. They delved deep into the town's history, unearthing long-forgotten secrets and confronting terrifying legends of the past. The trail led them to a desolate and ancient graveyard, hidden away in the heart of the woods. At its center stood an eerie, weathered mausoleum, the final resting place of a malevolent sorcerer who had been the architect of the curse centuries ago. Victoria and Henry knew that they had to find the sorcerer's remains and destroy them to break the curse. Armed with candles, holy water, and the last ounce of their courage, they ventured into the crumbling mausoleum. As they delved deeper into the shadows, they encountered unspeakable horrors, undead creatures, and malevolent spirits guarding the sorcerer's tomb. Each step felt like an eternity, and fear threatened to consume them, but they pressed on, knowing that their very survival depended on it. Finally, at the heart of the mausoleum, they discovered the sorcerer's resting place. Chanting incantations and reciting ancient spells, they fought back against the malevolent forces that sought to protect the sorcerer's remains. With a final burst of energy, they shattered the sorcerer's skull, ending the curse that bound Victoria to Edward. The moment the ancient bones crumbled to dust, a haunting scream echoed through the mausoleum, and the spirits faded into the ether. Exhausted but victorious, Victoria and Henry emerged from the mausoleum, bathed in the light of a new day. The curse had been broken, and Edward's vengeful spirit had been put to rest once and for all. From that day on, Victoria and Henry lived their lives free from the shadow of Edward's malevolence. They married and started anew, determined to cherish the gift of life and love they had fought so hard to preserve. However, the haunting memories of that night and the horrors they had faced together would forever linger in their hearts, a reminder that some evils could never truly be forgotten. And so, they vowed to treasure every moment, knowing that life was fleeting, and that the darkness could always return unexpectedly. And so, dear listener, heed this tale as a warning, for when one seeks to do away with another, the past may return to claim its revenge, and the price of freedom might be far greater than one could ever imagine.